In today's episode, we're talking about how to optimize your pet's health naturally to help them live a longer and healthier life. We're going to talk about natural food, ingredients we should be looking for, human foods that we can give our dogs, supplements, and much more. So stay tuned. Who's positively spoilt? If you have a spoilt oodle, just like me and many others, then you're listening to the right podcast. Positively Spoilt is a podcast focusing on helping you raise a happy and healthy oodle. Now, we know just how fussy, cute, loving, and sometimes challenging they can be. But hey, us two-leggeds can't resist a cute four-legged face. I'm Tanya, Chief Person, Pet Concierge, and temporary parent to many small dogs that are part of the extended oodle family here at 3 Spoilt Dogs. As a lifelong small dog owner and temporary parent to many other oodles and many small dogs, I have seen it all. And this podcast is here to help you raise the happiest and healthiest oodle that you can. And hey, we don't discriminate. So if you have any other breed of dog, you'll find the podcast relevant and helpful too. So pause up and let's get into today's episode. Hey, everyone, it's Tanya Williams, Chief Person at 3 Spoilt Dogs, back with another episode of the Pawsitively Spoilt podcast. And we're talking all things natural today. Like, it's all about how we're going to optimize our pets' health naturally because we want them to live longer and we want them to be healthy. And I am talking to someone who knows all about that. I'm talking to Ayda Hornak. Now, she is the co-founder and chief commercial officer of PetWell, and she lives and breathes all this natural stuff all day. Welcome to the podcast, Ayda.
Hi, Tanya. Thanks for having us.
Absolute pleasure. Before we go too much further, would you like to give people a bit more insights into who you are, what you do, and how you help their pooches?
Sure. Well, my name is Ayda. Co-founded PetWell 3 years ago now. I have a beautiful, very, very anxious border collie named Archie.
Oh.
And, found out he had genetic anxiety and he was on a drug called Lovan, which helped him manage the anxiety, but unfortunately compromised his health by being on it for 4 years, being a synthetic drug.
Yeah.
So I decided to go reach out to a naturopath and just delve into all things natural, to see that what I could do to help him. And then from that, had conversations with a friend of mine who's also got health issues and who has fixed her health issues through nutrition, Tracy. Mm-hmm. And we decided to create a brand called PetWell where we help pet parents with education and giving them tips around how to better care for their dogs in a natural way. Mm-hmm. And created a line of all natural supplements and treats that help pets keep their pet well.
And that's what we all want, right? We want happy, healthy pets. Now, can you define what we mean by natural? Because the term gets thrown around like nothing else, right? And people want to put natural on all these labels, and it's like, well, sometimes it's not actually natural. And we want to make sure that we're using the term correctly. What do you mean when we're talking about natural products for pets?
Okay, what we mean at PetWell, natural means whole foods that are minimally processed.
Okay.
So minimal processing.
Yeah.
It means that there are no additives, no fillers, no preservatives of any kind.
Yeah.
So it is as close to a natural food that they would get out in the wild.
Okay, that's what I thought, but it's always good to clarify so people understand what that actually means, because obviously people have different definitions of natural, I guess, too.
Yeah, well, the problem is within our industry, a lot of people refer to natural even if it's, say, 50% of the ingredients in that product is natural.
Yeah.
Right? So they fail to tell you that has got like 50% of additives of some sort that aren't natural. So it's really, really important to read the ingredients and actually understand the ingredients. If you're reading a bunch of numbers, then you need to relook at it.
Yeah, and we did an episode on how to read pet labels in our last series as well, and I was shocked because naturally you think, if you're spending a lot of money on something, it means it's better, and we found out that that's definitely not the case.
Not all.
But yeah, so it's interesting when you think, well, when you actually look at the labels to see what is in the food that they're eating, there is so much processed stuff in there. And I mean, just like humans, right? Like it's not great for us to be, having all that stuff because it does cause other issues with different parts of our body and our internal organs and all that sort of stuff. So let's sort of talk more about sort of natural foods for dogs. Like what type of natural foods help our dogs live a longer and healthier life?
So I'm a believer in raw feeding.
Yep.
So I go back to the absolute basics with my dog. I provide lean proteins like kangaroo, venison, beef, chicken. I know there are some dogs out there that have allergies to commonly used proteins like beef and chicken, but there are so many other alternatives that you can give them in terms of proteins.
And so many places online to buy that now as well. There's lots of specialty pet like food places where you can buy like natural meats and stuff too. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because the more options people have, the more likely they are to explore that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And organ meats, like we undervalue organ meats, or like out in the wild, the grey wolf, where all our doggies have descended from. When you watch them do a kill, they will go for the organ meats first, then the muscle meat.
Yeah.
Then the bones, because instinctively they know that's where all the nutrition is. That's the good stuff.
Yeah, which makes sense.
So it's really important to add that in there. I also like to add some veggies as well, veggies that are really high in fibre, because when people create their own meals at home for their dogs, quite often they'll make a mistake of forgetting to add the fibre aspect to the meals. So it's really, really important to get that in there as well. So if you tick all of those boxes, natural proteins, organ meats, vegetables that are beneficial to their health, and just top it up with some supplements that is breed and age relevant for your dog, then you're on the way. You're on the way to give them a really good start.
And that's the thing. It's about having all that balance, isn't it? It's not just going, well, just give them meat or just give them, vegetables, or just give them, like, it's about going all the things that they need. Well, how can I create this balanced meal? Like, I know I make up a lot of food. One of my girls, Latte, she's got kidney issues. So she's got early phase kidney disease. So I make up a lot of her food. She does have some canned, some wet food. She'll have a little bit of that for breakfast. But the other stuff, I've got a nutritionist to put something together, and I follow that recipe and put all these. And there's some stuff in there that I'm really surprised by. Really, I put that in there? But, she's been so good and doing really well, and it seems to be really working for her. And I think, one of our other episodes, we spoke about kibble versus raw foods as well. And I don't think people understand how not great, I won't use the word bad, but kibble actually is, and because it's so processed and it's not doing our dogs any favours to be feeding high kibble diets. But when we talk, I also want to go back to, I suppose, talking about ingredients as well, because we've spoken about the importance of having balance. What sort of ingredients should we be looking for when we're buying different food? And that might vary depending if it's wet food, if it's raw food, if it's like kibble. Like what sort of things we go, that's good, that's a good ingredient, let's tick that?
Anything that has got lean proteins is good food.
So your beef, your kangaroo, that sort of stuff.
Absolutely, because that is the natural stuff that dogs need. They're carnivores. I mean, sure, they eat some veggies and berries and all that sort of stuff, but predominantly their gut is built to eat meat, and that's what benefits them the most. So that's my number one. Veggies as well, vitamins are important as well. I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of dogs are deficient in vitamin D. Much like humans, actually.
Well, someone mentioned that to me the other day, actually, about vitamin D deficiency, and we're talking about it from a human perspective. But I'm surprised that it's also something that dogs have as well.
Yeah, so they need to get their vitamin D so that they've got good muscle function and joint health and immune system protection and things like that. So I'd be looking for that. Omega-3, super important.
When we say omega-3, what exactly are we talking about? We're talking about fish oil?
Yes, we are talking about omega-3s derived from fish predominantly.
Okay.
So omega-3s from fish is a DHA omega-3. And what that means is better absorption. So they get the benefits of all of what omega-3 has to give them in terms of the anti-inflammatory, the joint support, lubrication, all of that stuff, which is really great for gut as well, because the anti-inflammatory helps the gut function better as well. There is omega-3 that you can get from plants, and that's called ALA. The problem, that's good, but the main problem with getting your omega-3s from plant-based foods is that then their body has to convert that to a DHA omega-3.
Right. Okay.
And that process is really taxing on their body, and they will only get 5 to 15% efficiency out of that omega-3.
Yeah.
So getting it from things like green lip mussels and acronyms, green lip mussels, sardines, whole fish, things like that is just the best source.
Yeah, and it's funny, like a lot of people think you can't give your dogs seafood, and we're not talking about giving it lobster or any of that sort of stuff. But exactly, my dogs love sardine and tuna. And a lot of our guests, I'll often use that as a little topper if they're not eating their food, and they love it. Things like green lip mussels and stuff like that, like are unusual sorts of products, but they are good for, dogs to be eating.
Our green lip, we do freeze-dried green lip mussels, salmon and sardines, and they are our biggest sellers. So what that tells me is that people are aware of the benefits of real omega-3 supplementation from food, not just powders and synthetic ingredients.
Cool. Okay. So what sort of ingredients should we avoid? Speaking to different people, often they'll say you've got to limit all those like carbs. They shouldn't be eating lots of pastas and rices and stuff like that. Again, like humans, it's a little bit goes a long way. But is there something when we look at an ingredients label to go, okay, that's got way too much of that in that for that dog to be eating, or other things that we have in our cupboard, perhaps what we go, no, they shouldn't be eating that.
Well, other than the obvious toxic foods like chocolate and caffeine and onions. You mentioned kibble earlier. Some kibbles out in the market, even the expensive ones, are up to 50% carbohydrate fillers.
That's a lot, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot. So I personally would be avoiding those.
Yeah.
Anything that's loaded with grains as fillers, I would be avoiding those, because, again, dogs don't get a benefit from eating grains and carbs. It's just there's no point. They're literally fillers. That's all it is. Artificial additives, obviously, is something I would be staying away from also.
Can you give any examples of artificial additives? Like, is there something that we should be looking for?
Xylitol, for example.
Okay,
Xylitol is the sugar that's extremely toxic for dogs. Look, I simplify ingredients in my mind. I'm a simple person.
We like simple ingredients.
And if you read an ingredient and you don't understand it, then you probably shouldn't buy it.
Yeah. That's good.
Let's just really simplify it.
Yeah.
Anyone can market anything. Like some of these kibble brands, they have exceptional marketing, and they will have beautiful photos of a steak and a beautiful piece of salmon and all these wonderful veggies.
Just deceptive.
On the packs. Well, deceptive. You see, this is the argument, right? As far as they're concerned, it's not deceptive, because at the start of the process, they are using those ingredients.
Yeah,
at the very start.
Technically they are, yes.
They're not lying. Technically, they're not lying.
Yeah.
But what they're not telling us is the other 50% that's going in there.
Yeah.
And what they're also not telling us, and I'm not sure if you know this, but to create that perfect little kibble at the end of that process, it goes through 3 to 4 heating processes. So what happens to fresh food when you heat it?
Yeah.
You lose the benefits.
If you're heating something 3 or 4 times, it don't look too great at the end.
And you don't get the benefits. So all that beautiful food that they start with,
you suck out all the nutrients. Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah. And that's the thing with kibbles, right, is it's so much. And the fact that it can last so long. If something can last months and months and months, well, I'm not quite sure. Look, just like us humans, it's probably not something you really want to be eating a lot of.
Well, you know what? It's like you said, in moderation, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
Moderation. Yeah.
If you need to run out the door and you need to give your dog something really quickly once a week, once every couple of weeks, then great. But it's like us eating Maccas every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I love pasta. It's one of my favourite foods.
Yeah. But you don't want to be
Could I
eating
eat it
pizza,
for
right?
breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah.
What would I look like? How would my health be? Like,
How would you
let's
feel? You'd feel horrible too. You would literally feel
let's just put
terrible.
some common sense into
Yeah.
something and just take it back to basics, and not
Absolutely.
believe everything we're told from marketing
And I think
experts.
that's the thing. I think as owners, we need to take some accountability and do our own research as well. There is so much information available online. We can Google it. We can go and listen to podcasts like this. We can go and read blogs. We can, go and educate ourselves, talk to experts and say, okay, like, let's just do our own research and figure this out for ourselves and go, what's going to be out right for our dog? Because every dog's different. I get that. But it's taking some accountability and going, well, I'm not just going to do what's easiest and just grab the nearest thing of canned food or dry food, and that's what all the dog's going to get. I think it's really important that we open our minds up and go, what's actually best for the dog, so I can make sure that they're healthy and happy.
You're spot on, Tanya. At the end of the day, when you make a commitment to bring a dog into your life, you need to make a commitment to give them the best possible life you can.
Absolutely.
Health-wise, especially health-wise. I mean, we have these beautiful animals for such a short time.
Yes, way too short. Way too.
I know. So why not give them everything you can to make sure that short life they have is a healthy and happy life?
Absolutely.
Like,
1,000% agree with that. Now, human foods. I mean, there's lots of human foods that we know that we can't give them, as you mentioned before, like chocolate and onion and garlic and, xylitol and, all these things that are in some of the foods that we eat. Are there some natural human foods that we can give to our dogs? Because, often there's that overlap of if it's good for us, it can be good for them as well. So what sort of human ingredients are actually really good natural foods that are great for them?
99% of human foods are good for them, as long as it's not processed.
Yep.
As long as it's not processed. So we're talking proteins, chicken, eggs, beef, kangaroo, crocodile. Like, we can eat all of those.
Yeah.
So everything I give my dog is human grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Me too, pretty much. Most of the stuff is.
I don't buy pet grade anything.
Yeah.
He gets human grade everything. All our supplements and our freeze-dried treats, they're all human grade.
Mm-hmm.
So good enough for me, good enough for my dog. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Personally. But proteins, great for their muscle development and their energy and their immune system, like human grade stuff, the good stuff. Vegetables, pumpkin.
Fruit even, not all fruits, but most fruits, okay.
Antioxidant fruits like berries and acai berries, blueberries, raspberries, like all of that. They're great little treats. Like, don't waste your money on ultra-processed crap, commercial treats. Honestly, it's not worth it. Open your fridge, slice some apples up. Celery stick. I give Archie a celery stick every night. He has to have his celery stick or a carrot.
Yeah. And it's good for their teeth too, that stuff. So it's not just good for their health, it's actually good for their teeth.
Exactly. It's been really hot in Melbourne. I know it's unusual, but yeah, in Melbourne it's been quite hot. So when he comes back, instead of giving him ice cubes and cold water, I'll actually give him cucumber.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or watermelon and things like that, where he really loves it. And, and it's great for the hydration and it's healthy for him. There's no calories in it. He's not going to get all these preservatives and all this crap that goes with it.
And that's the thing. I think and I get it, like convenience-wise, it's easier just to grab something off the shelf. Like mine used to get a lot of that when they were younger. But as I, educated myself and learnt more about what was right and wrong to give them and stuff like that, I make a lot of dog treats now and do that for our guests as well. But I will often do little licky mats or do little frozen little Greek yogurt with like a berry in it and different things like that, because it's a much healthier treat for them than give them a smacker or something that's, that's like, that's not probably the best thing, but they get it occasionally, but it's like that's a real occasional treat rather than an everyday treat.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's like us having a naughty meal.
Yeah.
Like a burger or something. It's the same sort of thing.
Absolutely. Now, you've mentioned supplements a couple of times. Now, obviously if we're giving them these sort of diets, we need to add supplements. What sort of supplements should we be adding? And I'm also mindful of like going, well, we don't want to be adding 12 different things into their meals. What are some of the simpler supplements that we go, okay, we've created this nice meal that's got some kangaroo and some vegetables maybe, and like what other things need to go in that as a supplement that will give them that balanced diet?
That's a really, really open-ended question.
Yes, it is. I know. So answer it best you can.
Because every dog is different. Their requirements are different. Their breeds require different things. Their age requires different things. So, for example, I've got a border collie.
Yeah.
And he has genetic anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he has hip dysplasia as well.
Yep.
So the supplements I give him are all around treating his anxiety and his hip dysplasia, which PetWell have created. So I know exactly what's gone in there, and I know it's natural, and I know it's balanced perfectly by an animal naturopath. So the safest way to give your pet a supplement is one that has been professionally developed.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So either by a nutritionist or a naturopath that understands animal needs, not just human needs.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got the right ratios of everything in there to make it work. And those ratios work together to amplify the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So one kicks off the other. For example, a little bit of black pepper amplifies the benefits of turmeric.
Okay. I didn't know that, because turmeric, you can get some turmeric that is good for dogs and their joints and stuff, can't you?
Yeah. Well, most turmeric is good for them. You have got turmerics that are higher in curcumin, and obviously that has a better impact, and a bit of black pepper in there amplifies that even more.
So you can actually like sprinkle a little tiny bit of black pepper on their food.
Yep.
We've actually got it in
one of our allergy supplements as well. We've actually included the black pepper with the turmeric in there as well to help our
Okay, good, yeah.
But that would be my advice, and it's really, really important not to just throw supplements randomly at your pet's food, because they might not need it, and you might be giving them the wrong supplements. So dogs that are huge, large breed dogs, I always say get on the mobility supplement straight away by the time they're 2.
Yeah, because they tend to have those bigger joint issues.
They always suffer with joint issues. Working dogs like my boy, I mean, he needs to be on the mobility straight away. And then you got older dogs, obviously, that might find it more difficult to digest food as they get older.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're raw feeding an older dog, they may struggle to process that food, to digest it. So just lightly cooking it and adding some probiotics and extra fibre supplements in there will help them.
Yeah.
So it's not a black and white answer, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And I expected that it wasn't going to be, but I think, and one of mine, she's got a renal supplement because she, I put that in with her food mix, because obviously she's got, issues with her kidneys and stuff. And Neo has something totally different because he doesn't have those issues. So he gets other things. So I think exactly every dog's different, but I think it's important to know that there are supplements out there, and we need to look at what type of dog we have, what sort of issues do they have, do we need to add something, and what does that need to be based on their individual circumstances, I guess, right?
Exactly. You said something that I really liked earlier about just putting some healthy toppers on their meal, on your dog's meal.
Yeah.
And that can be in the form of supplements. We've also got natural proteins that have got the supplements infused in there, which I use as a topper for Archie's food as well. But even some freeze-dried treats like green lip mussel and sardines and a bit of salmon, just put them on as a topper. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a supplement as such.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of benefits just by putting a few little toppers like that on, which is
great, a great tip. Like it's like having that extra boost to help them, whether it's with digestion and all that sort of stuff. And I guess talking about digestion, as you said, as dogs get older, they can develop some more of those types of issues and stuff. And I know it's the same in humans, right? The gut and the stomach is so important in a dog's health. And I think it's one of those things that often gets glossed over, or people don't understand or don't realise and go, well, it's just like humans, right? what sort of things can we do? Because, I mean, particularly for us, we get a lot of oodles who are very fussy or they have very sensitive stomachs. So we have to be mindful of any additional treats that we give them or any other foods that literally will upset their gut. So if someone's got those types of issues, and we have a lot of them that come as guests, what sort of things would help them, whether it's a supplement, whether it's a type of food, when it comes to sort of gut and stomach issues?
I'm really glad you brought this up because most people do gloss over this. You're absolutely right. The gut is a second brain.
Yeah. It's pretty important, yeah.
So a lot of ailments that both people and dogs have come from the gut. I have a lot of customers coming to me going, what can I give my dog for allergies? I'm like, well, look after their gut first of all, because that's where a lot of the allergies start, is from the gut. So first of all, before I get into that, I think it's really important to note that when you change your dog's diet, even if it's a little bit, it will affect their gut. They will get diarrhea. They may even vomit. But that's actually normal. So if you are changing their food from something that's not so healthy to something that is healthy, just understand that could potentially happen. And
do it gradually as well. So you're not just changing overnight. It's just that little bit more at a time,
I always tell people to do it about over 7 to 10 days. So it's the ratio. If they're having 100% of this, give them 10% of the good stuff. And then over the days, just increase that. So that's really important. But going back to the gut, like a good digestive supplement is really, really important, because a good supplement, and yes, PetWell have got one called Digest. Every ingredient that's in there is an anti-inflammatory. So you have to always look for ingredients that are anti-inflammatory that can calm and soothe their stomachs so it doesn't aggravate it. Dogs that are prone to having gut issues, like with IBS and things like that, it's probably a good idea to, if you are raw feeding them, it's probably a good idea to lightly cook their food so it is easier on their gut to digest. So raw food, again, it's fantastic for 90% of dogs, but there are some dogs that require a little bit of cooking in that. But fermented foods like yogurt, like you said, throwing the yogurt on the lick mat, that's fabulous. Archie has pickles. I give him
pickles.
He loves them. He just goes crunch, crunch, crunch.
Yeah.
So just anything that's fermented, probiotics, good digestive supplement goes a long way. Again, the omega-3s. Look for the omega-3s because, again, they, anti-inflammatory on the gut. It's soothing. It gives them everything they need to get through. And it's great for their joints too. Everything I've just mentioned is also beneficial for joint health.
Yeah. And look, that's the other big one as well. I mean, I know one of my boys, my little boy Neo, he has sciatica and he has some issues with some back pain and stuff like that. So we put fish oil on his food and there's other things that we do. But it is, and turmeric we've found to be good for that. But I think especially oodles, we see lots of issues with joints and stuff as well. So, I mean, not just doodles, but all dogs, but, particularly when it comes to a lot of the guests that we have. So it's good to know that those types of foods have got that double whammy. So it's gut and joint. Yeah. So it's like, well, if it's doing twice the amount of work, then that's got to be a great thing, right?
Yeah. The other thing that gut relates to quite significantly is their mental health.
Yes.
As well. So a lot of dogs suffer anxiety because of poor gut health.
Yeah. And I don't think people often make that connection as well.
No, they don't. Again, it's the same for humans.
Yep.
So if you get the gut right, look, there's two things I always look at with dogs and my boy especially, that if you fix their gut and create an iron steel gut that can handle anything and boost their immunity, then you've got a very healthy dog.
Yeah.
Longevity comes with that.
Yep, absolutely. I love that. You mentioned before about freeze-dried treats. Freeze-dried is something that I think I'm seeing more and more of, where people are saying it's freeze-dried, it's freeze-dried. What does that actually mean when you say something's freeze-dried?
Freeze-dried in the supplement and treat world is king. Mm-hmm. It is the best product to give your pets.
Okay.
Because the process that it goes through, removing all the moisture from the protein, it is one of the only processes that keeps all of the nutrient in the protein.
Right.
It doesn't strip the nutrition aspect of that protein at all.
Yeah.
So you get the full benefits of the nutrition. In fact, in some instances, it almost amplifies it as well. Green lip mussels, for example.
Yeah, I've got some of those not covered, yeah.
If you give your dog 3 or 4 green lip mussels that are freeze dried, it's equivalent to giving them like 10 wet green lip mussels in terms of its nutritional value.
Yeah.
And that's why you find a lot of freeze dried stuff for humans and animals are more expensive because of that high level of value that they get from it.
Yeah. But that's good to know. So we should be looking for freeze dried treats rather than just that really high processed stuff because it's so much better for them.
Absolutely. And they don't need as much of it. Like yes, freeze-dried treats are more expensive, and I understand why people do go and get the packet of schmackos or the ultra-processed stuff because it's cheap, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've read the ingredients on some of those ultra-processed treats. I'm just amazed that we get away with it, that people get away with this. But it might say chicken jerky, right? So you're buying chicken jerky. And then you read the ingredients and it says, it may contain chicken.
Yeah, which is a bit worrying. It may contain chicken.
It may contain other animal proteins. It has grains in it. It has
It's because the industry isn't regulated, so there's no hard and fast rules, and that's the problem, right?
Yep. So I'm going to go back to saying what I said at the start. If you read the ingredients and you understand what they mean, then you're onto something okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's a great tip for people to take away. If you can't understand what half the stuff is, then it's probably not going to be too good for you.
Yeah. But if you want to understand it, like you said earlier, again, being responsible pet owners, we should invest in learning about this stuff.
Yeah.
Contact the company.
Yeah.
Contact them. Ask them what that ingredient is. Ask them what benefit it provides. And they should tell you. And if they don't tell you, then there's a bigger concern there.
Yeah, that's true. What have they got to hide?
Yeah.
Let's I suppose finish the conversation with some top tips for our dog owners. Like, what are the top 3 things that you would suggest? And you've mentioned a few of these throughout, but and we've spoken about a lot of different things. But what are those top 3 things that will help people give their dog a natural diet that's going to help them be happier and healthier?
Feed for health, not convenience.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Understand your dog is unique and understand they have unique needs.
Yeah.
Their age, their breed. Engage with a naturopath or a nutritionist that specialises in canine nutrition.
Yeah.
Build a plan just for them. Don't just feed for convenience because it's easy to throw onto their plate.
Yeah.
That is probably my biggest tip. My second tip is understanding that people will continue to feed their dogs dry food.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest adding the toppers on.
Yeah, just give them some extra benefits.
Just throw some organs on there or throw some, hydrating veggies on there that gives them a little bit of protein and things like that can help their gut as well. And I guess my third tip is not so much about the nutrition aspect, but we're talking about how nutrition helps them live longer and healthier. I think exercise is a really, really important factor to add.
Mental
to that.
and physical. People just think, it's about taking them for a double. I can't say the word because I've got dogs sitting underneath me. They'll all pop their head up. Not taking them for a W, but mentally stimulating them as well.
Absolutely. And again, Border Collie owner, everyone says to me, because I live in an apartment and Archie does have quite a bit of free rein out in the park and stuff, but he's got hip dysplasia, so I have to rein it in, right? He's not allowed to run a lot. But being an anxious Border Collie, the mental exercise is far more important for him than physical exercise. Yeah. And that makes them feel calm. And that helps their bodies feel calmer, and it doesn't agitate their gut, and it doesn't agitate, all their mental issues as well with anxiety and things like that.
Yeah.
And I will throw in another tip though, and that's going back to what I said earlier. You don't have to spend a lot of money on treats. There are things in your fridge that are healthy.
Yeah.
That you can just give them as a little treat, like carrots and celery and cucumber.
And that's the thing. And carrots, you can buy a bag of carrots now for like $1.50 or something. Like you can chop them up. You can, cook sweet potato, make sweet potato. Like there's so many different things that are just like easy that you can just grab and cut up into pieces ready to go for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all that valuable advice. As I said, I always have takeaways from these episodes and learn more. And the black pepper one for me was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about like adding that to any food and stuff. So that's a big one for me. But the fact that, that we can be using more treats that are just inside our cupboard or inside our fridge is a really good one as well. So thank you so much. Before we finish though, we are going to do a 60-second quick fire, which is just designed to be a bit of fun and help people get to know you. So I'm not going to time it, so I'm just going to throw a bunch of questions at you. Answer them as best you can, okay? It's all good. Okay, what's your favourite food?
Pasta.
How can you go past pasta, right? Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm a night owl.
What do you do to relax?
I run.
Oh, see, I look at that and go, that's not relaxing for me. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
That'd have to be close one. Time travel.
Oh, yeah, I like that
one. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Or that turning water into wine would be really awesome as well.
Yes, that'd be great. Do you prefer summer or winter?
Oh, summer.
Summer. And what's one thing you're afraid of?
Snakes.
Oh, my God, me too. And your favourite time of day? Early morning, late afternoon?
1 o'clock, so I would say late afternoon.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ayda, for being part of the podcast. I know I get so much value, as I said. Other people are getting value from this, so I really appreciate you sharing your insights on how we can, help our dogs more naturally be healthier.